who's been walking the walk long before 2020, long before it was popular. He knows what it means to stand alone against the tide and to keep standing. So today, we're not just talking about germs and conspiracies. We're talking about health, but we're also talking about freedom and truth. And if you think this conversation won't challenge you, well, buckle up because it's going to. Joining me now is the man himself, Dr. William Trebbing. So good to see you, sir.
Neil, always a pleasure. See you and your beautiful. Where's your beautiful wife? I thought she was
Oh,
going to be on the.
if I knew where she was at, that'd be half my problems would be solved. I spend most of my life running around trying to figure out where she's at. So, hey, so do us a favor. Could you kind of just walk us back? It's not we don't have hours and hours to talk, but I really want to get kind of where you came from and why you got in this battle.
I come from Long Island, New York. Um, so thank you very much for the introduction. And you're correct. I've been doing this work. I've been a chiropractic physician, as you see on mine. Yep. Okay. Where is it? Over here. Yeah, over here. Shirt here for 40 years, and very dedicated to just healing people, getting them better. And a long time ago, when I was in medical school, chiropractic college, those types of things, a guy named Gary Knoll showed up and did a lecture. Now, being the fact that I was already in chiropractic college at the time and left medical school, I wanted to do something more natural as far as healthcare is concerned. Didn't like the people over at Downstate Medical. And it just naturally, I was helped tremendously by a chiropractor and really liked the philosophy of natural healing and natural health. And so I gravitated over to the chiropractic college, which was on Long Island at the time, actually. Uh, Very simple. I could ride my bike there. So the rest is history because Gary Knoll showed up. If you don't know who Gary Knoll is, he wrote a very famous book called Get Healthy Now. It's like an encyclopedia for healing, and one of the originals. You know, Gary's in his late 70s now, and but he was my inspiration to learning more about vaccines and pharma and truth and everything else like that. You know, I was never into drugs to begin with, but he really opened my eyes, and so I kind of dove in with him and did a lot of study with him. And then there were other people around the late 80s and early 90s who were also doing a lot of I should say, anti-vaccine work. Barbara Fisher and whole bunch of folks, you know, at that time who were just doing research on it. And I compiled a lot of their information, and I used to put it into pamphlets to give to my patients. Oh, Ted Koren, I should note as well, was a very big influence on me. Dr. Ted Koren, who is also a chiropractor. Ted has done a tremendous amount of work saving families on the nature of the toxicity of vaccines all the way back till the mid 80s. So he's been a big influence on me too. Actually, he wrote the foreword in my book, as you might see, Goodbye Germ Theory. So um, all these influences, I just kind of took it my own way. And as I was putting the book together, they were a series of pamphlets to give out at lectures. I was doing 3 lectures at churches, telling people to not vaccinate their children, no matter what. And then at the time, the autism epidemic was just starting to get really moving. It was about 1 in 10,000 when I was in chiropractic college. In the 90s, it went down to about 1 in 5,000. Then when I wrote the book, it was like 1 in 3,500. Any idea what it is today, Neil?
Gosh, I've heard some crazy statistics, especially out of California. I 1 in 100.
Well, 3 out of every 100 people are now autistic.
Oh
So
my,
that's 1 in 31-ish, 1 in 33.
wow.
You know, this
Now I
comes
wouldn't have
from
heard this, Dr. Trebbing, but
reliable
I
stats, you know.
yeah,
And of course, they did a huge campaign in the 90s smearing a lot of people that were pointing vaccines towards the neurological uh, neurotoxicity scourge that they are, creating all sorts of things from allergies to cancer to autism. Uh, they completely toxify the nervous system. And today I tell parents it's so bad that you may as well pick up you know, a six shooter, put one in you know, I have one of the, you know, I've got a number of guns. I have a round, you know, like the Saturday night special with the
Yep.
round chamber. You stick the 38 bullet there. Put one in there in the six, and you may as well take that and point it at your kid. And that's what you're doing when you take vaccines. All right.
Ooh,
And that might be a very strong statement. I know you have grandchildren now,
yep.
God bless with that, Neil. They're beautiful kids.
Yep.
And you have taught your children well. You have taught your so that they raise their children with uh, so that they don't have to be toxed out by these awful chemicals. They're black
Right.
magic, is what they are. You know, getting ahead of myself though. Uh, but the bottom line is that this is the cause of the autistic uh, spectrum disorder problem that we're having right now, which is 1 in 30, and I think that that's generous. So it's now 3 to 5 out of every 100 people. Okay, especially in, I think the stats only come from the United States. We don't even know what it is globally at this point, but it is all due to the systematic
Incredible.
neurotoxicity, systematic poisoning of the nervous system, which has come from vaccines for
Yep.
50 years. And if you read my book, Goodbye Germ Theory, if you, many of your listeners probably have read it, right? Um, and just, it's very simple to read. It's in layman's terms. It gets you, it gets you, it's scientific and in layman terms at the same time. Because you know why? You know why my book is so popular? It's sold over, at this point with COVID, over 500,000 copies. And the reason it's as popular as it is because it's common sense. It speaks to the everyday man and woman,
Yep.
the everyday parent, about common sense, about why would you do this? Take a look at what's happening in the world. Just open your eyes. Oh, I'm not going to take the COVID shot. Oh, I'm going to fight against the COVID shot being on the spectrum, being on the shot list for what I have to get. I'm still going to go to the pediatrician and get the DPT and the measles and the flu. And no, you got to stop all of them. Okay. Because vaccines were promoted for one sole purpose, and that is to keep the human race subservient, toxified out, and this isn't a very popular term anymore, but mentally retarded. And if you think they don't target different specifically, and they know how to target different communities to produce more toxicity and more autism and leave other communities alone, think again. If you think they can't do that, you're extremely naive, because that's exactly what they've been doing, especially over the last 30 years. African American, in particular, boys, black boys, no matter what state you're in, the rate of autism with them is like 1 in 15 at this point. Now, why is that? Why isn't Black Lives Matters getting on the subject? Okay, rather than taking my big head. Okay, this is the real problem.